Hey, what's up guys? Hardleg Joe here with the What a Deck profile for the Anti-Meta Thunder Bro deck. I'm just going to go through everything in here, and then I'll explain how it works. So for monsters, we're playing 2 Thunder King Rai-Oh, 3 Denko Sekka, 2 Zap Mustang, 2 Thunder Seahorse, 3 Vylon Prism, 3 Ma Hunder, 3 Pa Hunder, and 3 Bro Hunder. For our spells, we're playing 3 Galaxy Cyclone, Raigeki, 2 Pot of Desires, 3 Ties of the Brethren, 2 Dark Hole, 2 Lightning Vortex, 3 Swords of Revealing Light, and 3 Photon Lead. The extra deck is 1 Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon, Stardust Spark Dragon, Utopia the Lightning, Utopia Prime, Utopia, Constellar Omega, Silent Honor Arc, Giant Hand, Castell, Star Liege, Paladynamo, and 2 Gagaga Cowboy. The side deck, I'll go over in a moment. So at its heart, this deck is a lockdown deck. It runs mostly off of Zap Mustang. If you're unfamiliar with this card, cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by a card effect during your main phase 1 and cannot be special summoned other ways, and you cannot special summon it if you have special summoned already this turn. Twice per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. Most importantly, each turn, the turn player can only special summon a number of times up to the number of attacks conducted and reach the damage step this turn. What that means is your opponent isn't going to be able to special summon during their main phase 1. They have to normal summon, then attack you, and then they get 1 special summon during their main phase 2. Against Paleo Frog, Zodiac, and Infernoids, the top 3 decks at the moment, this pretty much just shuts them down entirely because they all run off of really small monsters, a lot of which need to be special summoned, and they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to have anything that's going to be able to get over this 1600, and even if they can, just that 1 special summon they've really got to make work for them. Now, in addition to that, we're also playing Swords of Revealing Light. Normally not a great card, but in combination with Zap Mustang, it makes a pretty hard lockdown. Since your opponent can't declare any attacks, they can't special summon, so they're stuck with just their 1 normal summon. And this deck can actually swarm pretty well. We're playing the Hunder engine, which if you're unfamiliar with it is mostly Ma Hunder and Pa Hunder. They both say once per turn you can normal summon a level 4 light thunder type monster from your hand, except another copy of itself. And all of these are level 4 light thunder type monsters. So once you get Zap Mustang out, you can get this and then something else. You can usually swarm the field and attack over whatever they have. And we've got some pretty high attack point monsters, in particular Thunder King Rai-Oh, who also helps with the lockdown stun aspect of this. He makes it so neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand, and if your opponent does do a built-in special summon, like an Ixie summon or a Synchro or a Pendulum, you can tribute Thunder King to negate and destroy that monster. Likewise, Denko Sekka has a pretty sizable 1700 attack, and his effect, if you're unfamiliar, is while you control no set spell trap cards, neither player can set spell or trap cards, nor can they activate set spell trap cards that are already set on the field. This is the reason why we're not playing any traps. If you have Denko Sekka, you're not going to be able to set traps, or if you do, it pretty much overrides the whole reason that you're playing Denko Sekka. But if you can get all 3 of those, it's pretty difficult to get over. Your opponent can't special summon, they can't set any cards, they can't add cards from their deck to their hands, and you add that with Swords of Revealing Light, and they can't attack either. Combine that with the Ma Hunder and the Pa Hunder, just adding on 2 monsters every turn, whereas they're only going to be able to normal summon the 1, and you've got a pretty sizable board. And of course, because your monsters have high attack, you're normally going to be able to attack, which means during your main phase 2, you can use all these level 4 monsters to get into this rank 4 toolbox we have here. I play 2 Gagaga Cowboys, just because oftentimes I'll be able to attack with 5 monsters, and then finish them off with 2 Cowboys. Everything else in here is just kind of a toolbox. We're playing some light-only monsters like Star Liege, Paladynamo, and Constellar Omega, just because you can make them with all these light monsters. They're of negligible use. Likewise, Utopia the Lightning, almost impossible to summon under Zap Mustang, but he could be pretty good if you don't have this. You could just make rank 4s. Plus, I mean, we're playing Thunder. We might as well play Lightning too, am I right? In addition to that, we've also got a row of level 8 Synchro monsters. That's because we're playing Vylon Prism. This is another level 4 Light Thunder type monster, but it's a tuner. So you can use Ma Hunder, normal summon your prison, and then go into any of these level 8 Synchros. Once again, this is mostly just a toolbox. I find that Scrap Dragon's of particular use just because it helps you clear some of the things, especially if you're not able to attack over it. They got a defense wall or something, or like a Marshmallow, this can get over it. And then just Stardust Spark Dragon and Stardust Dragon, because you don't really have a lot of protection, you can't play any traps. This is a good way to out things like Dark Hole, Raigeki, or even things like Fissure if someone tries to use those. You have these. These other two are just sort of situational, you can replace them. Crimson Blader's pretty good, because then even if they clear the field, if you can get an attack off with Crimson Blader, your opponent can't special summon any level 5 or higher monsters. So Invoked, Blue Eyes, things with high level monsters aren't going to be able to do anything, even if they get rid of your Zap Mustang. And then just Scarlight to clear the field, if they already have something set up, but no spell traps to remove this guy. Now, in addition to being just useful as a tuner, Violon Prism has a pretty neat effect. If this card is sent from the monster card zone to the graveyard, you can pay 500 life points, target a face-up monster you control, and equip this card to that target. And then if the equipped monster battles, it gains 1,000 attack during the damage step. So this is obviously good when you Synchro summon, because when this is sent to the field, you can then activate its effect, attach it to whatever Synchro monster you summon to give it 1,000 extra attack. But you can also just ram it into things your opponent has. If they have something with higher attack, you ram this, it goes to the graveyard, and then you can attach it to one of your monsters that already has a pretty sizable attack. Now, the only other two monsters I didn't mention in here are Hunder and Thunder Seahorse. These are both your searchers. Hunder, when it's normal summoned, you can add a light level 4 Thunder type monster. So he searches everything in the deck. Pretty nice, although you have to give up your normal summon. Although, if you normal summon with Hunder or Hunder, you can get a rank 4 out of it too. Thunder Seahorse, meanwhile, you could discard it to add 2 level 4 light Thunder type monsters with the same name and 1,600 or less attack from your deck to your hand. But you can't normal summon the effect you use it. That's why we're only playing 2 of those. It's pretty good to start off if you can get your Hunder, like 2 copies of Hunder or Hunder. That'll set up for later plays. But the turn you use it, you're not going to be able to do anything, which kind of sucks unless you've got like Swords of Revealing Light, or if it's later on in the game. Now, of course, since our win condition is Zap Mustang, we need ways to summon him, and that's where Ties of the Brethren comes in. You should be familiar with this card, but just in case, it's pay 2,000 life points, target a level 4 or lower monster you control. For the rest of this turn, you can't special summon other monsters, but special summon 2 monsters from your deck with the same type, attribute, and level, but with different names, and you can't battle this turn. So, because these are all light level 4 Thunder type monsters, you could target any monster in the deck other than Zap Mustang, activate Ties of the Brethren, and then instantly summon out a Thunder King Rai-Oh and a Zap Mustang, which will lock down 2 things. Denko Sekka cannot be special summoned, which kind of sucks. Optimally, you can normal summon this and then use Ties of the Brethren to get these 2 out, but if not, these 2 are still pretty decent on their own. Now, everything else in here is just sort of like a tech. We're playing Pot of Desires for added search power. It's a little risky with the 2 Zap Mustangs, but even if you lose those, you still got a pretty good like rank 4 engine, so you could still do some damage. We're playing a lot of Destruction, the Raigeki, the 2 Dark Holes, and 2 Lightning Vortex, because again, you can't have Thunder without Lightning. But more importantly, they're just here because if you go second, this deck really wants to go first because you can lock down your opponent. So we play a lot of field wipes. That way, if we go second, we can wipe everything, establish the Zap Mustang, and then prevent them from doing anything else. Finally, we're just playing Galaxy Cyclone as our spell trap removal. Fairly basic. You could burn whatever spell trap removal you want. And Photon Lee. This is special summon 1 light level 4 monster from your hand in attack position. This can be good if you happen to get your Zap Mustangs in your hand. That way, they're not completely dead. And even if you don't have Zap Mustang, this can still be pretty decent just because it allows you to put more monsters on the field. This deck already swarms enough, so if you can clear the field, you can usually put enough damage on board, or if nothing else, set up for another rank 4 or level 8 Synchro play. Now, as for the side deck, the things I would consider for the actual side deck, actually Trap Tricks Rafflesia would work really well in this deck. We don't have a lot of defensive level 4 Ixies. I play Giant Hand because it's the closest thing, but Giant Hand's really not all that great. Rafflesia's a great one, but you have to play traps in order for her to be useful. So if you're playing against a deck that doesn't use a lot of traps, where Denko Sekka is not going to be as useful, I would say replace her with 3 of these, like the Treacherous Trap Hole, Nightmare, and Bottomless, and then put these Rafflesias in there so that your rank 4 plays have a little bit more bite to them. Likewise, if you're playing against something with high attack, Honest can be pretty good because we're playing all light monsters. Same thing with Moon, Mirror Shield, Solidarity. We have a lot of different ways to raise attack, because really the only thing that can hurt this deck is being attacked by cards that have higher than 1,600 or higher than 1,900. If they can attack you and successfully resolve that attack, then they're going to be able to special summon. But if you lock them down from stuff like that, then you're set. Now, the only other 2 cards in here are sort of alternate options. If you wanted to make a super Trollsy, super lockdown deck, you could run Lightning Rod Lord and Terminal World. Terminal World says, while this card is on the field, both players skip their main phase too. That's important with Zap Mustang because while he's on the field, It's essentially like, during their main phase 1, they can only normal summon. They have to attack, and then they can special summon during main phase 2. If you have Terminal World on the field, it locks them down from special summoning at all, because once they attack, their turn just goes right into the end phase. Of course, the same thing will happen to you, so you gotta make sure that you can normal summon a whole bunch of stuff on board. Maybe do this with a more beatdown variant. Likewise, Lightning Rod Lord says neither player can activate spell cards during the main phase 1. This is of negligible use, although it is a lightning level 4 light monster with 1800 attack. So it's a pretty decent beat stick, and it'll stop you from being Darkhold and Regeki during the main phase. More importantly, if you're going for the Terminal World build, you put this in here, and since neither player can activate spell cards during the main phase, and there is no main phase 2, they're not going to be able to activate spell cards, which combined with Denko Sekka saying you can't activate traps, Zap Mustang saying that you can't special summon, and Swords of Revealing Light saying you can't attack, you pretty much prevent your opponent from playing anything, from doing anything at all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck. Probably not the most optimal build, but the most optimal build is kind of boring. But if you want to go troll people, there's some ideas for you. There's a lot of things you can do with this, a lot of variables you could do with this deck. Next week, it'll be a surprise. Until then, good luck, and have fun.